What's up, everyone? It's your boy Scott. Welcome to the Scott Report, and today we're here to talk about Daemons of the Shadow Realm, episode 7. And whenever a series starts, you always wonder where the title fits into everything. And with this week's episode, we finally find out the meaning of everything as we dive deeper into Asa's past and find out exactly where that title comes from. I mean, most of the time it's blatant, sometimes it's hidden within, sometimes they will just name drop it somewhere, but we straight up got what Daemons of the Shadow Realm means this episode. Is Asa reveals that she was slain by assassins from the village when she was 15. She said that last week, but it was kind of like at the end, and now we dive into that because she really did get unalived in her time that she was in between, like her time between life and death. And in that like purgatory space, she met a daemon in this space, and it explained that this is a boundary between like the living and the dead. And that world is called the Shadow Realm. So there we go. Daemons of the Shadow Realm. We get to the top of why this series is called what it's called. And this was a really good episode. I mean, we got a lot this week. So that was amazing, just bringing it all together like that. So in this Shadow Realm, Asa meets a daemon who actually gives her two choices. This daemon says you can either accept your fate and just be like, all right, I'm out of here, and just go ahead and jump off this ledge. Or two, you can take my deal and I will offer you my power, the power of break, and you will go back to the living and be strong, just powerful beyond your imagination. But I want you to know that if you accept this ability, people are going to come after you. Like all the time. Either people are going to come after you, people are going to try to take you out, or maybe even the people that you trust are really going to be using you for this power because it's so vast. So that kind of explains like the control things. We're finally getting a little bit of pieces of what's going on with the twins. And it was really interesting because this series always had mystery to it as far as what's going on between the Kagamoris and the village. We're finally starting to unravel it. And, well, no, this is 24 episodes. I was going to say we're halfway done. If it was 12, yeah, so we're like a quarter of the way through. So the pacing has been pretty good as far as just giving us little bits of information here and there. And no, the surprises don't stop there because, of course, Asa accepts the deal because she wants to, live. So she accepts this, and at the cost of an equivalent exchange, see what I did there? She accepts the power of break, so that's why she has a patch over her eye, because pretty much her eye is gone. It's just filled with this power of break like the entire time. But Asa actually asked another question or rather this series is bringing up more questions than answers, because she asked about her brother. And the daemon says, well, yeah, if you're twins, you guys are like the twins of prophecy or whatever. So yeah, if your brother dies, he will get the power of seal. So when he dies, he will see seal. She did ask, was he like alive? And at one point, the daemon, it kind of didn't confirm or deny it. It was just like, well, I haven't seen him, so that probably means that he's still alive. So that kind of brings up the question to me as well, because the village has been very secretive with Yuru as far as what's going on. Like, I wonder if he did like lose his life at some point and it's just been covered up. But at the same time, I don't think that's true, because we probably would have seen him use seal by now. It definitely ups the stakes, because it's like, if he falls, then hey, he'll be all right, because he'll just go to Shadow Realm and he'll just get seal. But at the same time, that's not true either, because yeah, left and right, as well as Dara has been very secretive about this, and they knew about what was going on and about breaking seal, and that if Yuru like dies, then he would get that ability. They just didn't want to tell him because it will cause him to be reckless. They were using it in a means to protect him, but at the same time, it wouldn't put it past me if he's already passed and just nobody told him about his powers or how to unlock it, or maybe his memory was wiped, or maybe, I don't know. It's like, just like I said last week, the more time we spend with the Kakamori, the more I trust them a little bit more. So I'm anxious to get back to the village to see their side of things and how this all works out. I mean, that just seems like too big of a deal to just gloss over like that. And we do spend some time in Yuru's past in this episode. In fact, we kick off the episode finding out that things wasn't always sunshine and rainbows for Yuru as well, as we kicked the episode off with someone just straight up trying to unalive this kid. And when it happened, of course, he was scared. This is something that just doesn't happen to a child. So at a very early age, he had to learn how to protect himself. But this also goes into the origins of why he's so calm, cool, and collective. And when this guy was trying to actually take Yuru's life, he said, "You don't belong here. You don't belong in this world." And he did look a little bit crazed, maybe even possessed. We'll have to see where that goes. Yuru does stab him to protect himself, but the killing blow is actually done by Yuru's father, which again is somebody who's been very secretive. And after he slays this man, he tells Yuru, basically get used to it. This is what's going to happen. This isn't the first time. This is the first time, but it definitely won't be the last time that people are going to come after you. What you saw in that man's eyes was killing intent. So the next time you see somebody with that, you better be ready to just do what you got to do, because they're not going to hesitate. So you shouldn't either. And it's a tough lesson from his fathers, but at the same time, with the parents being so shady, it's kind of messed up at the same time. But, it's big, because this is kind of getting into the thesis of why Yuru is the way he is and why he's so cold-blooded and why he's so great too. Because, he takes this into his life. His father says this is what you have to be as a hunter. As a hunter, you have to be ready for any situation. You have to approach every situation cool, calm, collective, and never lose that still resolve. So that comes into his upbringing of who he is. Of course, he's still a kid, so, that's going to scare him. But I don't know. It's like we're probably going to have to force him into going into SEAL, because I don't see, at least from the people that we got so far, taking out Yuru anytime soon. And again, going back to the father and the secretiveness that his father has, like when they get back to the village, they had to end up staying overnight to let, the wounds heal and things like that. And everybody was like, "Where are you guys?" And then Pops was just like, "Well, we went too far chasing some prey and we had to stay overnight, but everything, we're fine." He even tells Yuru back in the forest, don't tell anybody about this or what happened. When they get back to the village, Grams doesn't believe it at all. But that's just more things being hidden. That seems to happen a lot in this series. Like, as a matter of fact, we actually catch up with the mother in this episode, and she's with Asa, who is behind the cage, which confuses me a little bit, because I thought the Asa behind the cage was fake. So why was the real one behind the cage? Especially when Yuru kind of confirms that, like, after that day, and after this day happened, like shortly after, that's when his parents left and disappeared. So it's still a lot of questions, but it's intriguing questions. It's not questions that make you rack your brain or like kind of tick you off. It's just like it's giving you just enough in little breadcrumbs every week to just make you want more and more for this series. On a lighter note, because this series is really good with shifting that, Dara just casually makes his way to the Kagomori village and just kind of just knocks on the gate like, hey, I'm here to pick up Yuru, what's going on? And he introduces himself as his full name, which is Ryu Tadera. So with this being said, Yuru hears him outside and he kind of smooths it over with Jin. He's just kind of like, you know what? I think this will be a good time to hear both sides of the story. If we can just get everybody to sit down and talk, maybe we could come to some type of compromise. Something I also want to point out is back in the flashback with Asa. Again, I say this and I know I'm repeating myself over and over, and I'm sorry if it's annoying. It's just that making me feel more and more on the side of Kagomori, because even after the assailants tried to, kill Asa, that's when Gabby showed up and she saw what happened and that she slain these people to escape. And she was like, "What are you doing? We do the dirty work so you don't have to." So that makes like things even better, like each of these characters, even though Jin comes off as cold-blooded, I'm pretty sure he's the same way. It's like, it seems like maybe the Kagomori was just the best place for Asa to be, and maybe Yuru too, but we'll just have to get into the village side of things and see a little bit more. So the plan overall was, just to sit down and have a compromise. This was kind of a big deal because Jin was like the Tadera clan. Hold on, this guy's a little bit too open, a little bit too happy-go-lucky to be part of this clan. They're usually more secretive, they're more covert. They basically carry out the missions for the village, So why is this guy being so chill? But at the same time, it's also Jin being Jin too. He's always on top of things. He's always on the top of his toes. Something else that's really big though, and that left and right mentioned, there's no guarantee that if Yuru is slain that he will get the power of Seal or even come back to life, as it was mentioned that, you know, the set of twins before them 400 years ago, this same thing happened and one of them didn't make it back. So that raises the stakes with Yuru as well, because now, like, it's a possibility that if we lose him, we can lose him for good. Do I think that's going to happen? No. It might actually still happen, but it's some type of twist where we might make it happen. But it's good to know that things aren't so cut and dry, because at first that kind of took the stakes away, and that's exactly why they didn't want Yuru to know about this. So besides that, that was probably the first episode that didn't end with a major cliffhanger. It just was everybody just about to get together, have breakfast, get to know each other, probably have some arguments here and there, and all of the fun. And of course, Asa's happy because she gets another opportunity to try to hug her brother. But let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Do you think Yuru has already passed at some point and he has Seal? It's just been sealed away, literally, and he has to unlock it? Or, like, we have that thing out there now that if somebody does take him out, he's just going to come back more powerful and he's already beastly. But then again, it's very possible that he could still, like, lose his life and come back. I don't know. There's more questions and I'm more excited. I fight reading the manga for this every time. So I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. Guys, let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below, and I'll catch up with you guys later. So as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. Be sure to follow me on Twitch as well at The Scout Report for some gaming goodness over the weekends. And be sure to hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button, so when I drop, you guys will know and be notified. And I'll catch you guys soon. So until next time, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.